This special presentation of KVIE's Caring and Coping, Living with Alzheimer's is made possible by
MetLife Foundation is proud to support this important program, helping people to better understand, prepare for, and meet the challenges of this urgent health issue. MetLife Foundation, working toward an Alzheimer's cure.
Underwriting support for this program was also provided by UC Davis Medical Center, proud to deliver the latest advances in medical care and research to the Sacramento region and Northern California.
There's one thing all who face the challenges posed by Alzheimer's need to know. You are not alone. I'm Pat McConaughey. Thank you for joining KVIE in this special exploration of the support and services available to patients and their loved ones right here in the Central Valley. Together, we will trace the steps of this difficult journey, from diagnosis to long-term care. And along the way, we'll meet some extraordinary people: doctors, patients, caregivers, local heroes who are the best our community has to offer. But first, we have the story of one family learning to cope and to care. I know this story well. The family is my own. It's hard for me to enter the grounds of my mother's residential care home without apprehension. I wonder what she'll be like, how she'll look, and how much she's lost since my last visit. Hey, Mom. How are you?
Okay.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
I know. How are you?
Okay.
Can I give you a hug? Like anyone with Alzheimer's disease, my mother Maxine is slowly fading away. It's very difficult to come and visit her and watch the progression of the disease, to realize, I think, in the last few months that there's some recognition that she knows I'm somebody in her life, but I don't think she really knows who I am. Nor does she remember the movie stars whose pictures she lovingly pasted into this scrapbook as a child. There's Ronald Reagan. And connecting to her own past isn't any easier. Who's this? Look at how pretty you were. Little Irish Maxine McCrum, huh? Yeah. That's what they called you. Even though her memory and language skills are slipping, looking through this scrapbook seems to give her some small pleasure. My mother began showing the classic signs of the disease in her late 60s, getting lost while driving to familiar places, making poor judgments, and forgetting how to do simple tasks. She was diagnosed in 1995, just before her 70th birthday, and so we joined the thousands of others who reluctantly embark on this difficult journey. Unable to care for Mom at home, well, we were forced to find an appropriate facility.
We're making gingerbread door hangers.
Aware of the troubles and travails other families have faced when confronting this difficult decision, I now realize how lucky we were to find the Mirabel Lodge in Sonoma County. It's a place where Director Alon Sarkeesian's staff take the time and effort to know every resident's individual needs.
We're going to sit right here, okay?
She likes to have her back rubbed and things like that. She likes that too.
Loves it. She loves it. She likes TLC. She likes big hugs and she giggles.
You're tired? Let's fix your glasses. There you go. Can you see me now?
I'm grateful for caregiver Deandra Chadwick, who's formed a special bond with my mother.
She's a wonderful listener. Maybe that's just because she really doesn't talk, but there's just a sense of connection between her and I feel like I can tell her things.
And that's the mother I remember. She was warm, caring, and outgoing, someone who was always there for her children and later her grandchildren.
So how are you, Grandma?
Okay.
Now, when my teenage daughter Heather and I come to visit, we've learned to accept what's going on with Mom at that moment.
You know that.
And if the apprehension is always there, so are the treasured memories of who she once was and what she meant.
Love you, Grandma.
And still means to our family. As we found out, diagnosis and treatment can be difficult and traumatic for patients and their families. It's why we're fortunate to have access to a center that's setting the standard for Alzheimer's care.
So what I want to do now is just kind of go over each piece of the evaluation and tell you what we think.
After many months of testing, this will be a day of reckoning for 83-year-old Arlene Betker.
You saw the doctor, you had some memory testing, we did a brain scan.
Betker's memory is slipping at an alarming rate, a telltale sign that something is seriously wrong.
Everything else looks pretty good. We do think your diagnosis is that of Alzheimer's disease. Yes. Okay. And I know that's kind of hitting you between the eyes and upsetting for you. Sorry.
It's a crushing blow, but one that is carefully cushioned by the staff at UC Davis's Alzheimer's Disease Center.
And this is not the end. And there is so much that we can do today and tomorrow, and Lord knows how long in the future, to give you good quality of life.
The Davis Center is a nationally recognized program offering the full array of diagnostic and clinical services.
Have a seat here.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And because of the region's large Latino population, the center is making a special effort to reach out to that group as well. Dr. Charles DeCarli is the center director.
Alzheimer's disease right now. The people get a very comprehensive assessment about their illness, be that Alzheimer's disease or another disorder. Secondly, and what follows from that, is that we have a very strong education program.
She wasn't able to draw a simple object.
As one of only 28 Alzheimer's research programs in the country, the Alzheimer's Disease Center, or ADC, receives state and federal funding, allowing it to provide patients with truly comprehensive care.
Well, when I saw her, I thought she was minimally depressed.
In the absence of a definitive test for Alzheimer's, an entire team of clinicians is assembled to make diagnosis as precise as possible.
We have other tools that we can use to help us give us a very high level of confidence and a level of 95% certainty that then allows us to treat these people as though we have a definite diagnosis.
DeCarli says the earlier a diagnosis is made, the more that can be done to help the patient. After compiling a complete medical history, neurological exams search for the classic Alzheimer's symptoms, such as impaired judgment and progressive memory loss.
What's this?
Oh, that's a pencil.
Okay. Is it a pencil?
A diagnosis is only the beginning. Part of what makes the ADC's program so thorough is that the clinicians are keenly aware that Alzheimer's disease affects both patients and families. That's why a follow-up conference to discuss the findings, like the one conducted with Arlene Betker and her loved ones, is so important.
You're very lucky in the sense that you have Bud. Bud right by your side, and you've got your daughter. You've got a really good support system.
Once a diagnosis is made, ADC coordinates ongoing follow-up care with a patient's primary doctor.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Michael McLeod is a geriatrician, a specialist in all aspects of a senior's health, including dementia, and a physician who understands that Alzheimer's patients need customized care, not a cookie-cutter approach.
And any moments of agitation or really testy behavior.
McLeod has been treating Sylvia London since she was diagnosed by the ADC in 1998.
Look at this circle.
As part of her visit, McLeod gives Sylvia a series of memory tests to measure the progression of the disease. In this one, he asks her to place the hours on the face of a clock.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
We're testing an area of the brain in the frontal lobes of the brain called executive control function. That is her ability to see a sequence and a pattern, and she really had no idea where the hours would belong on a clock.
As part of the complex treatment regimen, McLeod prescribes medications that manage symptoms and may slow the incurable disease. But McLeod knows that his patient isn't the only person in need of care.
Mr. London, tell me how you're doing.
I feel I'm doing pretty good.
I don't have a patient with Alzheimer's disease. I have a family. So looking at whether we are in a nurturing situation, a safe situation for the individual, whether we have a caregiver who's holding up or starting to buckle into the stresses, that's a very important part of treatment.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. I appreciate everything.
Dr. McLeod's approach is part of a growing awareness that caregivers have unique needs that must be met for the patient as well as themselves. Well, fortunately, we have a number of services here in the Central Valley dedicated to caring for the caregiver. David Mossman still has rhythm. But if keeping the beat still comes easy for this former professional drummer, he's at a loss when it comes to managing his daily life.
What are we doing today, honey?
Well, why don't you just check the board?
More and more, David must rely on Rusty, his wife of 36 years. She keeps a chalkboard on the kitchen wall to remind her husband what day it is and what he'll be doing. When David was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2000, it changed not one life, but two.
Oh, leaves down there. So pretty. Yeah. It's a scary disease. It makes me angry because things that I took for granted anymore that I can't.
You feel that your life has been taken away because you become the caregiver. And you have to learn how to take care of yourself as well.
Experts say Rusty has it exactly right. Following diagnosis, caregivers often neglect their own needs and end up overwhelmed by feelings of helplessness and isolation. But the Sacramento region is blessed with a variety of services to make confronting the challenges a little easier.
How it is that you're interested in volunteering for the Alzheimer's Association.
The Alzheimer's Association's regional director, Mary Gillen, says when it comes to this devastating disease, it's as much about caring for the caregiver as it is the patient.
The stress of caregiving can create problems with health or emotional problems or whatever in the caregiver because it is such a demanding role. So Alzheimer's and other dementias don't just affect the person with the diagnosis, they become family problems. Great for direct application.
The association serves a 7-county area, offering everything from invaluable information on all aspects of the disease to its most commonly used service, a 24-hour helpline.
And have you gone through diagnostic process?
That one-on-one approach is also available from the Del Oro Caregiver Resource Center. This state-funded nonprofit is a one-stop shop for free advice on issues that run the gamut, from developing a care plan to family counseling. Executive Director Janet Claypool says the goal is to help caregivers become, in effect, their own case managers.
They can take the next steps to find the resources they need and follow through on asking good questions of their physicians or their resources. So we try and be almost the touchstone for them.
So Stephen, can you tell me a little bit about how you came to care for Honey?
Del Oro sends family consultants into the home to assess which services caregivers need most. But there's one service that both Del Oro and the Alzheimer's Association see as essential for one and all.
This is the support group, as you all know, of the Alzheimer's Association.
Support groups give caregivers the chance to share their experiences with others who are traveling the same difficult path.
It helps me not feel quite so lonely, quite so depressed, so upset.
This is Vernon Ames' first visit to a Roseville support group. He's now caring for his wife of 64 years, and the pain is taking its toll.
We have twin beds in the bedroom, and she'll wake me up at night, in the middle of the night. She's just, well, who are you? You know, and I'll tell you, it hurts.
If these groups can work wonders for adult caregivers, there's very little on offer for the teens and younger children whose grandparents or parents have Alzheimer's. And that's been frustrating for 16-year-old Elizabeth Martyr. Every week, she and her mother make the trip to the Aegis residential home in Carmichael for a visit with Elizabeth's 81-year-old grandfather.
Hi, Grandfather. Oh, yeah, we found one from your kindergarten. It's really hard for me, especially like as his granddaughter, to go in and have him not recognize me. That's you, when you're in medical school.
Oh, when I was at the school, I kept everybody behind me.
Well, of course, you were the best.
Martyr turned her pain into something positive for other teens, a brochure about Alzheimer's that speaks directly to them.
Basically, I made this because I went looking for information as soon as I found out that my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and there wasn't anything for us, like our age group, our demographic, if you will.
Well, if Marta is just one small thread in our regional Alzheimer's support network, her words and deeds illuminate a fundamental point: to effectively cope and care, a patient's loved ones need information, guidance, and support, and the earlier the better. While Alzheimer's is usually associated with the elderly, there's a rare form of the disease called early-onset Alzheimer's that strikes people under the age of 65. We recently sat down with a couple from Grass Valley who may just change the way you look at this disease and the meaning of courage.
My name is Jeff Holland. I have an Alzheimer's diagnosis. It was not a great shock. I knew for a fact that something was going wrong. I was a fairly high performer in industry, and it was slipping.
My name's Chris Holland. In the last 3 or 4 years, I've been learning to cope with Jeff's illness and the changes in his abilities. And now when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a full-time caregiver.
Learn to cope with life as it is, rather than as I would like it to be.
I am amazed that, first of all, he can make fun of his mistakes and his shortcomings and short-term memory. I think that's wonderful, to still have a sense of humor.
I mean, a lot of people would look at me and say, he doesn't have Alzheimer's, but I do.
There have been 2 very difficult things. One is just handling the financial aspects. We were not prepared for retirement when he lost his job. And thank goodness, eventually, we were able to have benefits under his disability insurance. The other thing that's been hard for me to cope with is my reactions, my frustration, and I do find myself getting angry, even though I know I shouldn't have the same expectations that I used to have of Jeff. And at the moment, I'm in counseling.
Okay.
And getting different ideas on how to handle my reactions and my frustration.
Chris has been the one reason I remain sane.
That's been an education for me, is just to say there are some more important things than making sure we don't have a late payment on a bill. You know, we do need to take advantage of the beautiful sunny day and the fall colors. They won't be there forever.
Alzheimer's has done one great thing for me. It's given me a lot more time available for the relationship with my wife.
See all of these that are overhanging?
The brown ones.
Yeah. And one of the things I heard in a support group in Georgia is, yes, Alzheimer's is fatal. It kills 30% of the caregivers ahead of their loved ones. You really do need to take care of yourself, to take a few hours a week that are your time and your time alone.
2 days a week I work at the Railroad Museum in Nevada City. One of the great things, as far as I'm concerned, is when I'm at the museum, Chris has got a day off, where she doesn't have to worry where I am, what I'm doing, what have I just screwed up.
First hope is that Jeff will survive long enough for there to be a cure. The other hopes I have are that we can spend enough quality time together to make his life enjoyable. At the moment, I'll just settle for a few years of being very aware and very functional.
I don't have any illusions that I'm going to live forever, but I'm sure as hell going to live as long as I possibly can, Alzheimer's or no.
At some point, many families, like my own, will need to seek help when it comes to caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's. Fortunately, there's plenty of help to be had when it comes to choosing from a bewildering array of options. Stephen Halton works night and day caring for his wife, Johanna, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
I truthfully feel in my heart that I can give her better quality than anybody else.
But even the best caregivers need respite, access to resources, and help providing recreation for their loved ones. So, twice a week, Stephen, like many others in a similar situation, brings Johanna to one of 5 RRR adult daycare centers in the Sacramento area.
Center Director Janet Harden.
Correct. When they come here, they're getting a full day of enriching activities, and caregivers do notice a difference that after a day at RRR or other daycares, that they come home, that they're more alert.
The RRR centers serve a diverse population at decent prices made possible by city subsidies. While the centers are an invaluable aid for many, there are other options available for at-home caregivers in our community. And at least one of them is no farther away than your own front door.
Buck Shaw from Home Instead Senior Care. How are you?
Buck Shaw started Home Instead Senior Care to fill a need he discovered after his own father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
And he didn't need nursing care. He needed exactly the kind of care we provide, the very basic kinds of help.
Hi, Mildred. How are you doing today?
Specially trained staff step in to make dealing with the disease in the home just a little easier.
Can I help you with anything?
It's very challenging. And without understanding of the disease and some tools with how to deal with the disease, it's overwhelming.
Services like Home Instead can cost up to $20 an hour. But for clients like Carolyn Daly, that support has meant she can keep caring for her in-laws and for herself.
And there are times that I just need to be able to get away from my own care and being able to take care of myself so I can continue taking care of them. It's nice to be able to have someone that can come in and take over, and you don't have to worry about it.
Come over with us.
Yet, in-home care is simply not an option for every patient. And that means many caregivers are forced to confront a difficult situation. But there's help to be had.
Do you have a lot of people in the support group right now?
Janet Claypool is the director of the nonprofit Del Oro Caregiver Resource Center, an organization that's ready and able to help people find appropriate care facilities.
They're realizing they can't do this anymore at home, or their family member's condition has changed dramatically health-wise, and they have to consider this. We help provide them the information to look for a new place.
One of the places Del Oro sends clients to is Senior Care Solutions, a referral service that helps families sort through an overwhelming number of options, free of charge. Owner Carol Kinzel says the key to success is a personalized approach.
Everybody that calls is treated on an individual basis because every story is different. We then take that information and combine that with our knowledge of the care facilities in the community and create a very short list for them to start their journey and get them scheduled with appointments.
With live-in facilities costing anywhere from $1,200 to $5,000 a month, the agency's consumer guidance is an essential element of the selection process.
Whether it be a large facility or a small facility, you want to know how long they've been there, what their experience is. You want to talk to the caregivers that are going to be directly caring for your loved one.
With this wide array of services on offer in our region, there's one thing every patient and every family should know. You are not alone.
I urge people in the community when they are dealing with someone with memory loss to get help, to reach out in the community. There are many services that can stand by your side during this journey.
I know I'm not alone in wishing there was no need for this program, that a cure for Alzheimer's could be found. Well, that quest is just part of the research underway at the UC Davis Alzheimer's Disease Center.
Let's go over it again. Okay. We'll do it together.
At the UC Davis Center, patients have a unique opportunity to advance the scientific quest for a cure and more effective treatments through participation in a wide range of research studies.
Okay, first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you some objects.
Investigation of a possible link between stroke and Alzheimer's disease is just one of a wide variety of studies now underway at the ADC. Research Chief Dan Munga says many share a common crucial goal: improving medicine's ability to diagnose people as early as possible.
The thought is that as more effective treatments become available, you can then have a greater impact on the person's life and quality of life by intervening early.
Another area of interest for the ADC is how the disease develops in a wide variety of ethnic groups. The The Sacramento region is home to a growing number of Latinos. Since language and socioeconomic barriers often keep them from seeking medical care, little is known about how Alzheimer's impacts this important part of our community. So the ADC, which has a bilingual staff, is now conducting the Sacramento Area Latino Study on Aging, or SALSA, in collaboration with the University of Michigan. Beginning in 1998, the ADC randomly recruited some 2,000 Latinos, 60 years and older, to investigate whether diabetes and hypertension increase the risk of dementia. Research takes place at the center and in the field, where investigators go into the home to closely monitor changes in physical and mental health. Even though the SALSA study is ongoing, Chief Investigator Mary Hahn says it has already yielded significant scientific discoveries.
There's a biological pathway by which type 2 diabetes leads to dementia, and older people who have type 2 diabetes are at higher risk for dementia because of that.
Hahn says that since obesity can lead to diabetes, the study suggests that overweight people may be at higher risk for Alzheimer's disease. She adds that while these factors are being studied in Latinos, the findings apply to everyone.
The good news is that we can actually prevent this from happening if we have the resources and the organization and motivation to do it.
Given that she fits our research protocol.
For Center Director Charles DeCarli, that emphasis on prevention, along with all the research into more effective diagnosis and treatment, creates an essential feeling: hope.
I really am optimistic. Each day we understand better the process that causes Alzheimer's disease, and with that understanding will come interventions that may help to either ameliorate the disease, so allow people to stay independent for longer.
All around the world, research is underway to prevent, treat, and eventually cure Alzheimer's disease. Here's a review of the latest developments.
There is evidence that a new drug, memantine, may slow disease progression in late-stage patients. Dutch research shows that common anti-inflammatories have the potential to treat and/or prevent Alzheimer's. A Swiss study suggests it might be possible to develop a vaccine that would slow disease progression. Scientists are looking at vitamin supplements as possible means of prevention and/or treatment.
I can only hope that this program has made your efforts to care and to cope just a little bit easier. And please remember, as I always do, we are not alone. I'm Pat McConaughey. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're interested in purchasing a copy of the program or would like more information about any of the topics we've discussed, please visit our website at kvie.org/caring and coping.
MetLife Foundation is proud to support this important program, helping people to better understand, prepare for, and meet the challenges of this urgent health issue. MetLife Foundation, working toward an Alzheimer's cure.
Underwriting support for this program was also provided by UC Davis Medical Center, proud to deliver the latest advances in medical care and research to the Sacramento region and Northern California.